Will Tesla Cybertruck become a mainstream product? You already know what I think. Over to the finance media.
Welcome back to Morning Trade Live. We've got the Russell leading the charge in the day 2 FOMC rally. Some mega caps left behind. Not Tesla though. Apple's also making a high, but Tesla's the clear winner. Up 3.5% this morning so far, trading more like some of the beaten down smaller caps, strangely enough. Let's bring in Gary Black, joining us from the Future Fund. He's managing partner, Tesla Bull and Fed Dove. And you certainly got that second part right. Gary, welcome back. Tell me what you think about the Fed's policy and how it informs your strategy.
So we think the Fed, clearly signaled that inflation is dead. And that they will start cutting rates, probably March. I think now that 80% chance. And obviously, as rates come down, we're at 3.95 on the 10-year today. That helps long duration growth stocks like Tesla because the future earnings are being discounted at a lower rate. So we like that.
As we can see, since roughly April 2022, around the same time Elon Musk announced his intention to acquire Twitter, interest rates have soared from basically nothing to sky fucking high. As a result, many supposed growth stocks have been crushed. The question is, does this make a lot of sense? And the answer is not exactly, no. I mean, interest rates don't directly affect the performance of companies, competitive advantages, their technology, scale, inevitable disruptions, and so on. Some companies can be quite affected by short-term moves in interest rates, but the general trend in the stock market is rates go up, run away from growth stocks. Rates go down, load up on growth stocks. And Tesla did get absolutely crushed in 2022. I also think Gary's right. Fed's likely done raising rates and probably they'll start coming down sometime next year. I'll be stunned if we haven't seen rates come down meaningfully by 2025 at the absolute latest. And if history is anything to go by, if rates come down, we're probably going to see a strong reversal of money fleeing growth stocks as rates went up. I'm sure you folks can fill in the blank. Of course, I personally didn't panic my way out of growth stocks, especially Tesla. Still never sold a share of Tesla. Why? I'm a long-term investor. I don't give a fuck what's happening to interest rates over the short or medium term. Nor do I care what the supposed rules are. Oh, rates are going up. I've got to sell growth stocks. Why would I give a shit? I just care about what does the future look like for Tesla over the long term. Obviously, not everyone's on the same page, because that's not how you're supposed to invest. Don't you understand? If rates go up, you have to sell growth stocks. A decade from now, I don't think too many people are going to remember what was happening with rates right now, and I think many people will go, wait, Tesla was what? But what? Nearly $100 per... What? The market cap was what at the start of 2023? What? Of course, I could be wrong. Only time will tell. Just remember that most investors globally, if they sell a stock and they've made a profit, they'll lose a huge portion of that profit through capital gains tax. So the idea of trading in and out of stocks over short-term moves with interest rates, etc., could have rocks in your head, or just a super gigantic brain that I can't even fathom, in which case I'm sure there's a good reason why you would do that. I'm not smart enough to know what that would be.
The reason we like Tesla here, and there's a bunch, but one is we think auto gross margins are bottoming. Even though you've seen some inventory discounts, you haven't seen any more configurator discounts, as we talked about, where they actually cut the price when you build something new. You got the Cybertruck, the halo effect. So when people see the Cybertruck in the store, they walk in, they can't get it, they order a Model 3 or they order a Model Y. We saw that back in 2021 when the Model Y came out. You had a huge halo effect for the whole franchise. And then you got the EV credit, which goes off invoice in about 2 weeks. That'll apply to the Model Y. You don't have to wait for the tax anymore. And it'll apply to the Model 3 Performance, but not the Model 3 rear-wheel drive or the long range, because the batteries are sourced out of China. And then the last thing is, you guys, the $25,000 vehicle, they've been talking about that coming in 2025. My guess is they're gearing up for that. They're not going to announce it before it's ready, because you don't want to cannibalize the Model 3. Absolutely
right. Said it before, I'm going to say it again. The interval between when Tesla announces the next generation vehicle, roughly $25,000 and first deliveries, will be the shortest it has ever been for any Tesla product, by miles. We know for a fact that there are many people today and yesterday and last year and 3 years ago who purchased a Tesla who are spending 2 or 3 times more to buy that vehicle than they've ever spent purchasing a vehicle previously. Why? Because the value offered by Tesla is so great that they're willing to stretch. I previously called this the Tesla stretch. However, if there's a compelling product by Tesla that starts significantly lower than today's Model 3 or Model Y, many of the consumers who today have no choice but to buy a 3 or Y will opt for the more affordable Tesla. And if Tesla announces A, the pricing officially, and or B, the specs, and or more importantly, shows it off, because lots of people want to see a pretty picture. There's going to be a lot of consumers who at that point go, well, that, I was going to buy a 3 or Y, but I'll just wait for this. Obviously, in the investor world, we know this thing's coming, but general public don't. And I personally believe this next-gen vehicle, there'll be variations on the platform, but alone, this platform will sell many millions of units per year. It's going to be huge. But to Gary's point, if Tesla announces it too early, it's going to have a major impact on 3 and Y sales. I suspect what Tesla's going to do is build their production systems in Austin. And I don't think it's going to be too far off before that starts happening. Get a few production lines running, figure out how to make this thing as efficiently as possible, scale that up, then start cranking these things in total stealth mode. We'll start hearing rumors and murmurs, and extremely naughty Tesla employers will start DMing people who make videos about Tesla on X with photographs of the production lines and all sorts of other things they shouldn't be doing. And there'll be lots of murmurs, but no official word from Tesla until these things are cranking. Then, out of absolutely nowhere, bam, product unveil and orders now open. And just remember, there's been a lot of misinformation, people that don't listen, and they heard that Tesla was slowing up plans for their Giga Mexico factory in terms of construction. They assumed, oh, well, that's where they're going to make the next-gen vehicle, therefore the next-gen vehicle is delayed. Not so. Tesla's building this thing first in Austin. Once they've got production systems down pat, they'll then be able to transfer what they've learned to their Gigafactory in Mexico. So I suspect that this next-gen Tesla is going to sneak up on just about everybody. And remember, it is explicitly designed to be as fast to manufacture as possible. That means that production of these things can scale to absurd levels faster than anyone can imagine. Remember, Tesla already produces vehicles today about 3 times faster than a company like Volkswagen. So if this next-gen vehicle is produced even 2 times faster than, say, a Model Y, that'll be 6 times faster than VW produces one vehicle. If it's 3 times faster, that'll be 9 times faster than VW. Nearly a 10 times increase. Madness. That gives Tesla the opportunity to announce this thing very shortly before they officially begin deliveries, because they're going to be able to ramp extremely quickly.
But I think that's going to come late in 2024, at least first produce. And that's going to be huge because you're going to basically go after that, mass segment that Tesla has always coveted. And that'll be, that's where you're going to get 5 million EVs by 2030 is that $25,000 car. So we like Tesla here. It still looks cheap. The way we look at cheapness, we look at price earnings relative to growth, which is the way you should be looking at stuff. And on a price earnings basis, it's trading about 58 times 2024, but it's growing at 35% a year. So you compare it to an Apple or you compare it to a Microsoft, it looks cheaper than those. So we still like Tesla here.
Well, that's one of the main things I wanted to get your take on, kind of connecting, because I do want to get into some more of the details on Tesla's pricing and the strategy and the Cybertruck and stuff too, but to connect that macro into Tesla for a moment, the valuations compared to the mega caps, or the performance rather, is what stands out to me. Whereas Tesla, like this morning, as an example, it trades more like some of these interest rate dependent smaller caps in a way than it does the mega caps, with so many of those giants at records all-time highs. Tesla, of course, is nowhere close to its $415 high from back in late 21. What do you make of the way the market seems to categorize it in that way, Gary? Like, does Tesla really need like an injection of liquidity into the economy?
Well, I think it does in the sense that if you've got lower interest rates, that means you've got lower loan payments. And just like, the home builders, when your loan payments go down and a car is a $50,000 purchase. So if your loan payment's $1,000 a month and now it's going to be $900 a month, you're going to have more demand. And it's something Elon's talked a lot about on the conference calls. He has said that because interest rates were going up, they had to cut their prices to keep loan payments the same. Now, I'm not sure that was the right strategy. I mean, you could have just brought down the loan payments as a manufacturer, but Tesla didn't do that. But now where you've got interest rates going down, you have much less risk.
So before Gary continues, I just want to point out 2 things. One, interest rates going down from an actual consumer point of view do make a difference to automotive repayments, and many people who purchase vehicles actually finance them, meaning they're very sensitive to interest rates. So that in and of itself is likely to be a huge tailwind for Tesla when rates start coming down, because people who either can't afford a loan, they literally can't get the finance to buy the vehicle, will be able to. There's also a subset of people who could afford the loan, could still get the loan approved, but are like, you know what, I don't want to pay that much, I'll wait. So that's going to be a huge catalyst. But in addition, as we know, because of the rules of the stock market, if rates go up, growth stocks are bad. If rates go down, growth stocks are good, which, well, it's completely irrelevant to Tesla, the company, and their execution. Many of the big institutional investors are likely, in my opinion, to start piling back into growth stocks as rates come down. Now, I could be wrong again, but we will just have to wait and see. All of this, again, in the scheme of things over the long term, is completely irrelevant. That doesn't mean it can't affect investor activity on stocks.
That you're going to have Elon cut price again, just as he's done all year. So you've got, if you look at earnings estimates for Tesla, they're down 40% year to date. If you look at either 23 or 24, because they've cut the price of Tesla. Now you got everything going the other way. You got interest rates going down, so there's much less risk that you're going to have further price cuts. When we get into the end of the year, you got all these distortions though now, because again, as I talked about, the Model 3, the rear wheel drive in the long range, which is 90% of the volume, is not going to have the $7,500 credit up, but the Model Y, which is priced about $5,000 or $6,000 more, will. So you're going to have these weird situation where after that $7,500 off invoice credit, the Model Y is going to be cheaper than the Model 3. My guess is they'll take the Model Y price up rather than cut Model 3 more. But that's 2 weeks from now. But that'll be good for the stock.
So then, we should then, I guess, expect the prices to stabilize somewhat. Like the string of cuts we went through, if things play out the way the macro is geared up for right now, then we shouldn't have to see any more price cuts, right? Unless they really need to undercut the competition or something.
Which they don't. I mean, if you can buy a Model 3 today for $35,000, you can buy a Model Y for $45,000. If you ask why people don't, if you ask people who are internal combustion engine owners why they don't buy Tesla, the number one reason is because they think it costs too much. Okay, and if Tesla would just even spend a little bit of money communicating with folks that, hey, after this EV credit, you can get into a Model 3 for $30,000. You can get into a Model Y for under $40,000. That would be a surprise to a lot of people. So we've advocated they should spend some money on advertising for a long time. I don't see them cutting price from here. Their margins right now are 16. That's the industry average. They were 26 a year ago. And so I would argue the pricing is fine. That's not the reason. The way Tesla can get from 1.8 million units this year to our forecast is 10 million by 2030 is by communicating with people.
And before Gary continues, it's true that there are many consumers today who don't know how affordable Tesla vehicles are. There's a lot more consumers who would love to own a Tesla who simply can't afford one. And of course, as we know, every time a Tesla gets sold to somebody, their friends, family, neighbors, colleagues hear about it. Oh, that's cool. How much did you pay? What can it do? Blah, blah, blah. And they find out. But here's my extremely controversial opinion. The way that Tesla increases the number of vehicles they're selling per year from, call it, under 2 million to 20 million, far in excess of what Gary's talking about, isn't by communicating anything to customers. It's by making their vehicles better and cheaper. Crazy idea, I know. But if I were to ask you guys and girls, what's likely to have the most impact on Tesla massively scaling the number of vehicles they're selling per year? Making them better and cheaper, meaningfully better and meaningfully cheaper, or communicating how good their vehicles are today to consumers without making them meaningfully better or cheaper? Just if you had to choose between one of those two, which would be the most likely strategy to get Tesla to a 10x of units sold per year? Making their vehicles meaningfully better and cheaper, or communicating how good and affordable they already are without any more improvements or price cuts. Curious what you guys think. And of course, in reality, it's not either or, but I'm just asking which of these is most likely to have the biggest impact. Regardless of what anyone thinks, I'm here to tell you what Tesla will do is to make their vehicles meaningfully better and meaningfully cheaper. That's going to happen regardless. One final point. Given the fact that Tesla dynamically adjusts the pricing on their vehicles, except with online advertising, which is effectively real-time, can be updated instantaneously. If Tesla were to start advertising and explicitly mention price, they'd have to be very delicate in how they do so, because the last thing you'd want is for Tesla to run a Super Bowl ad saying the Model Y starts at XYZ price. And by the time the Super Bowl commercial runs and 30,000 orders flow through in the first 10 minutes, and Tesla has to dynamically adjust pricing upwards so wait times don't get obscene, suddenly the price that was on the Super Bowl ad is no longer true. Very bad customer experience, right? Anyway, moving on.
How affordable it is, how easy it is to charge, how easy it is, the lower cost because you don't have to put gas in your car, the safety record. If you drive a Tesla at 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, the performance is huge. All they need to do is communicate those benefits to ICE owners, and you're going to get a lot more sales.
Certainly true that communicating these benefits will help inform some consumers who today don't know. But I still conjecture that what's going to move the needle more is just making their products even better and even more affordable. I mean, Tesla has sold to date, 5 million vehicles without the need to tell any consumers at all how good they are, how safe they are, how cheap they are through advertising, all through word of mouth. 5 million vehicles sold to date. Of course, the counter-argument would be, but Stephen, now that they've reached this scale, that's no longer true. Now when a consumer gets a vehicle made by Tesla and they love it, they don't tell anyone. Their neighbours don't notice it in their driveway. They don't ask questions. And again, to be clear, advertising does work. Manipulating people does work. Informing people how compelling your products are, if they are compelling, and how affordable does work. But it's not the only way to scale from 0 vehicles delivered per year to give or take 2 million per year and counting.
Don't need to cut price anymore.
Okay, now for the Cybertruck, a little bit of a different story, right? I mean, this is one you got to kind of break the bank a little bit more if you want all the gadgets and cross your T's and dot your I's and get your trunk full, the bed full of extra, charging plates, etc., so you can get out into the great outdoors. What do you think of this thing? Are they going to be able to find a buyer for it?
They have 2 million buyers. They have people lining up. Like I live here in Chicago.
Well, they've got little deposits, right?
Yeah, but I live here in Chicago. They have a Tesla Cybertruck in the store. Yeah. There are lines around the block to see this thing. It's just out of this world. So they're not going to have any problem whatsoever selling this, despite what the bears say. And they're charging $20,000 more for somebody who wants to take delivery today. And you get some etching and you get FSD for that $20,000. But you've got this 2 million order backlog of people who want to get their. People are not canceling their orders. People are trying to figure out, how do I get my Cybertruck before 2025?
So some fair points here. It's quite amusing to me that there are still people wondering whether or not Cybertruck's going to be a volume vehicle when it is known that there are 2+ million reservations. And to Gary's point, Tesla is encouraging people who want to pay the extra $20,000 to get a Founders Series Cybertruck to take delivery soon. I predicted this ahead of time. Remember I said there's an insane amount of orders, the backlog. What are they going to do? They're going to prioritize the tri-motor. And in addition to that, the most likely thing they'll do is also offer people, if you're taking FSD, which effectively the Founders Edition really is, bundled FSD plus a little bit of other shit on the side. But it's pretty much just bundled FSD. You take delivery first. And the FSD is pure profit straight to the bottom line. So this was obvious and inevitable. Tesla structuring the Cybertruck ramp, production and deliveries in such a way the most profitable vehicles are sold first, so they take the least hit on margins as it ramps up. You want first delivery? Great. You got to buy FSD. But in exchange for that, you get a nice little etching on the side of the vehicle and a few extras thrown in as well. You want to wait? Great. Well, you can wait a little bit. If you get the Cyber Beast version, you'll be next in line. And then eventually, once they get through Cyber Beast reservations, they'll probably move on to the dual motor and then eventually the single motor version, which could be multiple years away. And the biggest problem Tesla faces, in my opinion, and I mean the biggest single problem they face as a company over the next few years, is making Cybertruck as fast as possible. Because there's only so long consumers are going to wait. If they put a reservation in for this thing and they have to wait 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 69 years to take delivery, at some point people are like, f it, I'm not going to wait. That's a big problem for Tesla. There's too much demand for Cybertruck. It's a good problem to have, but it is a problem. This is a brand new technology. It's going to be brutal attempting to ramp this thing up to volume. And I suspect that for every one Cybertruck that gets delivered, multiple Cybertruck orders will come through as a result. So that backlog of 2 million, bro, by the time Tesla has produced 2 million Cybertrucks, who knows how many more orders have come through.
And so I think the pricing is fine. I think, the long range, which is kind of their bread and butter version, that's going to be $80,000 to start. The tri-motor, the Beast as they call it, is going to be $100,000. They're going to have a rear-wheel drive version, kind of for the average truck driver, pickup truck owner. It's going to start at around $60,000. Those numbers are going to come down over time, but for now, they're skimming. They're basically, it's a marketing term where you're basically starting with the people who want to pay for it, want to get it first, and then they'll bring the prices down as they get more scale and they produce this thing. Right now, they're telling people 250,000 capacity by 2025. I could see this thing selling 1 million units by, say, 2026, 2027.
This is a huge call from Gary. And I can't say I argue with him, at least not on this point. I personally think easily 500,000 or more, up to 1 million units per year for Cybertruck. It will take time, as I've said, but I'm on the record. I've been saying this consistently now for a number of years. Absolute minimum annual sales in the United States alone for Cybertruck, once scaled, once ramped, years from now, at least 500,000. It could be as many as 1 million. Sounds absurd. But 5-6 years from now, don't be surprised. And I've got to say, this is surprising to hear from Gary. It's extremely bullish, but I don't disagree.
And I could see this thing with a smaller version for especially Asia. you don't see pickup trucks in Europe, but you see pickup trucks in Asia. I could see them coming out with a Cybertruck 2 that's a lot smaller, but has the same look as the Cybertruck 1. So I think this is going to become, as big a seller as Model Y. Model Y is going to sell 1.4 million or so this year, 1.3 million. I could see Cybertruck being 1 million units per year as we get out to 2026, 2027.
All right. Hey, I feel like they'll pop those sales numbers if they get the matte black one as their main imagery. I've been saying that since day one. Yeah, so I think that one's a little bit more popular. All right, I'm going to go check out the one in Gold Coast.
Yeah. Check it out.
Okay. All right. Gary, thanks for the check-in. Appreciate it, sir.
See you, Albert.
Now, on the subject of the matte black Cybertruck, may not necessarily be the most popular version of Cybertruck, but there's no arguing. It looks amazing and, if we're being honest here, almost looks like an entirely different vehicle just from wrapping it in a matte black finish. I mean, really. I reposted this on X yesterday, making this very point. Cybertruck in matte black looks so good, I might have to get both versions. And I wasn't joking. A few months ago, I polled my Patreon subscribers, by the way, link in the description if you want to join. What was their preference for Cybertruck? The original stainless steel, matte black, or some other variation, a custom wrap, color, pattern, etc. Of the respondents, 43% preferred the original stainless steel Cybertruck, and 43% preferred the matte black, with 9% wanting a custom version. Based on this poll, we're going to see a pretty even split in terms of people preferring the original stainless steel or a matte black wrap. This is crazy. This is going to make some fat profits wrapping these things. Now, I suspect the people that really want the Cybertruck just to do work stuff, they're not going to bother wrapping it, because what happens when you scratch your wrap? Ding it up a bit. But those who are purchasing a Cybertruck, not necessarily for doing work every single day of the week, matte black will be an interesting option. Curious what you guys think. What do you prefer? If you're buying a Cybertruck, let me know in the comments below. Are you going for the original stainless steel, matte black, or something else? Or you're going to be greedy and get both? I mean, how badass does this thing look? And I got to say, someone's going to do it, right? The first person who wraps a Cybertruck like this, legend. Go on, I dare ya. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. It's an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point and something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, Snake Oil Salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link at the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links at the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.